and just thought it was pretty amazing what happened last night.
Well, the reaction to Mayor Pete has been remarkable, especially for a nation that has learned to become very cynical of politicians of all stripes. But you could see the response on Twitter. You could see hear the response from friends and neighbors, just like after his announcement. And it's quite unlike anything that I know that you and I have ever seen. And, you know, as you know, Mika, I only can tell three kind of stories. They're either baseball stories, Winston Churchill stories, or rock and roll stories. And looking at Mayor Pete last night and once again seeing this remarkable response, I was reminded of one of the most famous lines by any rock critic in music history. And that line was, "I have seen the future of rock and roll, and it is Bruce Springsteen." John Landau wrote that, and pretty smart guy to write that in 73, 74. Well, I've seen the future of the Democratic Party, and it's Mayor Pete. It may not be in 2020.
Right.
Perhaps it's in 2024 or beyond, but this guy is going to play an important role in the mainstreaming of the Democratic Party for many years to come. And believe you me, that is exactly what he does. Regardless of ideology, Mayor Pete mainstreams a Democratic Party, much in the same way Nancy Pelosi fights every day to make sure that her House caucus does the same, and that Joe Biden's doing on the campaign trail today.
Yeah, I find him to be a really exciting candidate. And during that town hall last night on Fox News, 2020 presidential candidate Mayor Pete Buttigieg slammed two of the network's most prominent primetime hosts for divisive comments they have made on air. And he also dismissed the tweets of the president. Take a look.
Especially when you see what goes on with some of the opinion hosts on this network. I mean, when you got Tucker Carlson saying that immigrants make America dirty, when you've got Laura Ingraham comparing detention centers with children in cages to summer camps, then there is a reason why anybody has to swallow hard and think twice before participating in this media ecosystem. But I also believe that even though some of those hosts are not always there in good faith, I think a lot of people tune into this network who do it in good faith. And there are a lot of Americans who my party can't blame if they are ignoring our message, because they will never hear it if we don't go on and talk about it. And so it's why, whether it's going into the viewership of Fox News or whether geographically it's going into places where Democrats haven't been seen much, I think we've got to find people where they are, not change our values, but update our vocabulary so that we're truly connecting with Americans from coast to coast.
How would you handle the insults and the attacks and the tweets and all of that?
The tweets are, I don't care. We need to make sure that we're changing the channel from this show that he's created. Because what matters, and I get it, look, it's mesmerizing. It's hard for anybody to look away. Me too. It is the nature of grotesque things that you can't look away.
By the way, no defense of Tucker or Laura Ingraham there. And as for the aforementioned tweets, President Trump weighed in hours before the town hall, criticizing Fox News, tweeting Fox is moving more and more to losing wrong side and covering the Dems. They got dumped from the Democrats' boring debates, and they just won in. They forgot the people who got them there. Fox senior news analyst Brit Hume defended the event, responding to Trump, writing, quote, "Say this for Buttigieg, he's willing to be questioned by Chris Wallace, something you've barely done since you've been president. Oh, and covering candidates of both parties is part of the job of a news channel." Wow. Joe?
Yeah, you know, Mika, that reminds me of when Donald Trump wrote about, you know, bleeding badly from a facelift, or calls me Psycho Joe, and people say, "Oh, how do you do it, Joe?" And we're like, well, because we don't care. And that's the thing. You've got to have that sort of mindset. You've got to see it as sort of a carnival, sort of a sideshow. And Mayor Pete does. A lot of other candidates become so upset and enraged, and he doesn't even go there. And Mike Barnicle, in those two answers, he responded in the most powerful way any candidate can respond to Donald Trump. Not by fear, not by comparing him to Hitler, not by being angry, which we do from time to time, but by laughing at him. It's grotesque. It's a sideshow. I don't care. Let's get on with the business of getting working Americans back to work and getting them good jobs with good pay.
You know, Joe, if we were